Da 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 da
Bum bum.
da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Doodle-doodle-dum.
All right, I think that was better than last time.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monkey, we are back with the Great Universal Ranking Podcast Part 2.
Yes, we are.
Part 2 of 3. It's weird to be on part 2 and to already be halfway done.
Yeah.
The next one of these I
It's
need
an
to
odd
do has to
feeling.
have like 100 entries or something like that to make up for it. All right.
Yeah. So we get to the point where my rankings start to seem a bit less rational.
You know what? I'm very curious about this one. I know for a fact there's a couple that are probably going to be on your top 10 that are definitely on my mid tier. So
What are you talking about? It's not like any of them are in the picture you use here, like in the bottom left corner.
right. Okay, so let's just recap. Let's go ahead and recap because since we only have 30 of these overall, I think we can actually take the time to do that.
Brevity.
Wait a minute. Oh,
Well, it is a theme park. You have to wait.
sorry. I have like two different versions of this list. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay,
Yeah, it's
number
just
30.
you have two different versions, like the thing on the bottom right corner.
No, it's like one of the versions had the walkthrough. So I had like God. So I had Camp Jurassic, and then I also had If I Ran the Zoo on there, and I was like, wait, we don't have those ranked, do we? Anyways, we don't. So number 30 for me was Storm Force Acceleratron. 29, the Carousel. 28, Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster. 27, the Kang and Kodos Twirl and Twirl. 26, Flight of the Hippogriff. 25, Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. 24, Doctor Doom's Fearfall. 23, The Incredible Hulk. That's one that you and I both ranked in our bottom tier, which is probably controversial. I'm a coaster junkie and I'm not a fan of that one. Unpopular opinion, I guess. 22, Race 3 New York, and 21, Transformers. Monkey, run down your list.
And my bottom 30 or bottom 10 were number 30, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, 29, Carousel, 28, Storm Force Acceleratron, 27, an honorary ranking to Fast and Furious Supercharged, 26, Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster, 25, The Incredible Hulk, 24, Flight of the Hippogriff, 23, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, 22, Hogwarts Express, and 21, Popeye and Bluto's Bill's Red Barges.
Okay, I was really surprised you had that in particular that low. Okay,
What,
so
Popeye?
number 20 for me, it was one you just listed off. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Monkey, honestly, it's just like I feel like I kind of like I don't want to say I rigged it to keep this out of the bottom 10, but I just appreciate this one so much. I think it's very photogenic. I love the actual interactivity with the water fountains. Honestly, I think the narration and the song and everything is a lot better than the High in the Sky Sue's Trolley, which we'll get to. I know.
I don't disagree with you there.
I don't know. I just think everything about this attraction it really sings to me as just like a perfect flat ride.
You had to
Like
choose the word sings.
right. I don't know. Just even the surrounding area and even the queue was like nice and covered and landscaped. I don't know. There's not a lot to it. Obviously, it's a Dumbo clone, but it's a damn nice Dumbo clone.
It is.
And let's see. I also appreciate the fact that, like, unlike the Disney Dumbo clones, like this one you can actually just kind of walk on whenever, even though it's I think, objectively better than any of the Disney Dumbo clones.
Wow, that is some lovely irony. It
Right,
works out in the
right.
guest favor.
Okay, what's your number 20?
My number 20 is the High in the Sky Seuss trolley train ride.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it
You
the
know,
bottom?
honestly, it could have been higher, but here's
Oh,
where it
bottom
ended up.
bottom right hand corner. Okay, okay. So bottom left. So you're upset about Poseidon's.
I'm not upset.
It's just that's the one that's in your top 10.
Surprise, surprise, am I right?
Okay, okay, got it, got it.
But
Anyway.
so now this is our little two different experiences thing, which does kind of play into one of the things that works against it. Like, so yeah, one track goes through the circus and the other track goes by the carousel. You don't get both. I mean, obviously this is going to get a lot of comparisons to the People Mover, which the People Mover, what it has over this is the loading capacity and
Mhm.
such, the restraint system, or whatever the People Mover uses as a door,
Lack of.
and also the length.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so like it would have been nice if, say, maybe a kind of more accessible and, or let's say more comfortable and more, what's the word? It's not productive. It's not speedy. It's
Efficient.
it's not economic.
Efficient.
Efficient. Yes, a more efficient system,
Yeah.
system, and
I would honestly.
did I already say a longer track?
Grass.
Yeah, so longer track, but hey, it's still a nice people mover is a nice people mover is a nice people mover. It's nice to have the scenicness, and look, a sneak.
Okay, well played, well played. All right, well, my number 19 is actually going to be Poseidon's Fury Monkey, unfortunately.
That's okay.
I honestly think that my big thing, I really, like, you were there when I first did it, and I was genuinely impressed by it. I don't think it plays well on a redo, on a re-ride, re-watch, whatever you want to call it. Like, once
Yeah, I
you.
could see it being the
What?
case there. Yeah, especially with the varied performers in it.
Right, and I just think that once you know the surprises, a lot of the wow factor just goes away, I think. Like, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, it was still cool to walk through the water tunnel and stuff like that, and it's still cool that they have the breakaway theater that reveals the bigger set and everything. But those were big wow moments for me. And honestly, like, just going through and expecting them, I was just kind of like, all right, yeah, this is neat. Monkey, oh my god, dare I say it? It's a little bit Rise of the Resistance-y for me. Where it's like you're not really you're just going through big set pieces. You're not really that much of an active participant. Honestly, with Rise of the Resistance, I feel pretty vindicated because of just the state of that attraction currently with all the broken effects. But whatever, that's an entirely different conversation.
Well, at least with
Yeah.
Rise, part of it is a ride.
Well, yes, of course. um, I don't know. Poseidon's Fury, I really do think that as much as I like the Lost Continent as a theme and as like an original, like one of Universal's few like original concepts for a land, I think it's time to do something with it and turn it into Zelda, man. Like, because I feel like the architecture is already there, and you have the Sinbad Theater just sitting there, like just shockingly empty and taking up space. I don't know. It's time. It's time.
If it does become Zelda, Darkanon should be the one to say, "Well, excuse me, princess."
Yes. Oh God. Yeah, I absolutely think it should be Zelda, and I think Zelda would fit in like perfectly with Epic Universe, or not Epic Universe with Islands, but all right, number 19
You
for
know
you.
me, I want it to be the CDI Zelda if that happens.
The That sounds like a So You Want to Be an Imagineer project waiting to happen.
My long-running joke has been, in the Nintendo land, the restaurant should be called I Wonder What's for Dinner.
Oh, God. All right, number 19, Monkey.
Sorry, I'm just picturing, the CDI version of the King on those Poseidon's Fury water screens. It's a fun
Oh, I know.
visual.
It kind of does sell itself, right?
So, my 19, good thing it's a wet one because this is going to be a bit of a hot take. I'm giving it to Jurassic Park River Adventure.
Ooh. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts. Ooh, right in my soul. Monkey,
Now,
this
in
is
this
this is in my top 5. Yeah, this is in my top 5. I think a lot of that has to do with my most recent trip and just being able to kind of just walk on it and enjoy it. It's kind of like a leisurely, like, it's so good. Anyways, go ahead. I'm upset.
Yeah, and in contrast, I've only done it once per trip, meaning
That
I've
makes
only been on
sense.
this
That
version
makes
in
sense.
person twice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe the fact of it being, wetter than Hollywood's factors in for me. And also the fact of like, yeah, it being a bit of a clone and arguably not quite as good as Hollywood's was. And when I say Hollywood, I'm talking about
Yeah, I know.
Jurassic Park,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Jurassic World, which I've only gotten to go on in July 2019, so I haven't gotten to check out
You
the
haven't seen the
updates
Big
yet.
Mama IREX yet. Oh man.
No, and I've not been watching POVs of that. So
Oh, dude. Okay, that's a whole different story. Anyways.
Yeah. Someday. Yeah, that was the last time I've been to Universal Hollywood. But hey, at least
I've told you this before. I am legitimately scared of that animatronic. Like, legitimately frightened of it.
So, where was I going with this? And well, at least River Adventure's in the middle tier, am I right? It's not in the bottom 10.
Oh, I will be pissed if it was in the bottom.
But yeah, it's still, it's still a nice adventure, even though I do wonder if like just some of those choices and it being so much wetter, like a bit too wet for me. Like even if you close your eyes, water still gets in your eyes.
I did not have a problem with the wetness this time, honestly. Like at all. I mean, especially in contrast to the Toon Lagoon rides.
I'm mainly talking with that final drop, but
well, yeah, that's
and especially in comparison to Hollywood's, where it's nice and refreshing if they're not doing the extreme water effects. And yeah, and maybe if the
Hello? Did I lose you? Monkey? Hello?
And this, of course, was an issue in Hollywood as well, but if the upkeep was maybe a bit better, are you there?
I am here. You dropped out for like about 30 seconds.
Of course I dropped out on a ride with a big drop.
Yeah. I agree that with Jurassic Park, honestly, I'll say this much. A lot of it to me is just being such a fanboy of Jurassic Park to begin with, especially like Jurassic Park over Jurassic World. I mean, I dig the Jurassic World stuff in Velocicoaster when it comes to like, I love the, I honestly think the pre-show with Chris Pratt is just like one of the glorious, like, pre-show safety spiels of all time with how sarcastic it is. But man, there is something like, honestly, Monkey, to me, I don't think it is ever going to, like, I don't think we have a chance that River Adventure is not going to turn into Jurassic World at some point. But God damn it, I would love it to just, like, I would love them to just maintain it, because to me, River Adventure is kind of like in that Pirates of the Caribbean tier of just iconic amusement, like iconic theme park attractions. And
Yeah,
I
you're not
totally
wrong.
realize that it needs some upkeep. I totally get that. And it would be nice to have some of the elements that Hollywood had, like the falling Jeep and stuff like that. But man, it's like, again, I am so loyal to it just as a purist of Jurassic Park over World. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's really nice to have stuff like John Hammond and the Q, like, just the old school original Jurassic Park vibes. That's what I really love about it.
That's fair. And as we've said, I don't have as much attachment to this version, so
Uh-huh. All right.
yeah.
So number 18 for me. Let me see. What is it? What is it? What is it? It is going to be okay. This I feel like is almost kind of like the prototypical like mid-tier Universal attraction. Simpsons ride.
Oh!
Yeah, I honestly don't have that much to say about it. I will say, as far as motion simulators go, I think this ride system is genuinely the most intense. That doesn't mean it's the best. It's like Flight of Passage is like infinitely better, but I do think it is the one that like pulls the most actual thrills for me. I don't know. I genuinely think the whole thing where you start in the room with the car and then the car lifts up onto the screen, like that sort of technology, like it's really old, but it still kind of has like a wow effect for me every time when you lift up and you
Mhm.
see the big screen. Um, that being said, I honestly think the Simpsons ride is like honestly, it's solid. As a motion simulator, I do think it's solid. Um, like I think it's paced well. It's got like the roller coaster section. It's got the section with the the gnomes.
The
Giant
elves.
Maggie is kind of like the stand-in for the T-Rex from Back to the Future. But yeah, it
Did,
stings that it's not Back to the Future, and
did
I
you ever get to ride Back to the Future?
I could have, but I did not.
Mm.
um that is one of my that's one of my biggest regrets of that. It's the same trip that I did that I saw
Kong.
the original Kong. Yeah. I really wish I would have. I really wish I would have, especially because I don't even think I would have been that afraid of it. um but anyways, I mean, but then again, I was too afraid. I was too rattled by Kong to even do ET that trip. So
I'm
oh
just imagining child you being, really concerned when they're saying that Biff Tannen must have stowed away in the pre-show.
I mean, genuinely, kind of. That's kind of how I operated as a kid. All right. Yeah, Simpsons Ride, I just don't like. I think it's paced well. I'm not a fan of the animation. Like, I honestly wish they could have just done it in like the 2D style or like the cell shaded style, the Flash or whatever they're doing now. But yeah, it's just a solid. Like I said, it's like the definition of like a B tier Universal attraction for me.
Mhm.
Okay, number 18 on your end.
Yes, my number 18 is Universal Orlando's Horror Makeup Show.
Okay, okay. I was honestly like, because I kind of was thinking this might have snuck into your top 10.
I guess there are other things to sneak into the top 10, like rides.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But, it's an entertaining behind the scenes show with a neat lobby. It works. And it's also
Honestly,
a little
I
piece
think I
of
have it.
stuff that's not in Hollywood anymore, so that too.
I think I have it ranked a little bit higher than you, just because it was like my one and only time doing it this last trip.
Hmm.
It's probably not something that would hold up super well on a rewatch.
Maybe it's another depends on the hosts thing.
That's true. I did have really, really good hosts. Oh man. Oh, the comedic timing on the hosts. I'll get there. Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, nice and simple entry there. My number 17 is going to be the High in the Sky Seuss Trolley Train Ride, and I just like like you said, a good people mover is a good people mover, but I think this fails at being a great people mover. I think the narration is frankly terrible, and I didn't even really realize that until my last trip. How
Yeah,
about
well, at least it gave you
you?
Grimace Island flashbacks.
um, I totally agree. I genuinely just think what they should do is just somehow combine the two routes into one route and just make it more efficient because goddamn this line moves slowly and a people mover should not load slowly. What are you doing,
Indeed.
Universal?
Indeed. Some video I saw while sort of researching for my rankings was something where I guess it was really empty in the parks that day or something. So they just had the trolley go through both tracks. Like,
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
like
I
it,
didn't even realize
yeah.
that was
So,
possible.
well, yeah, there's a track switch towards the end
Oh,
where,
okay. Okay.
yeah. So if they're running only one track, then you'll just go through the left-hand station each time to board
Uh-huh.
and unboard. If they're running both tracks, you disembark on the opposite side from where you loaded. And,
Interesting.
and so in
Interesting.
this video, they have it set up for taking it to the opposite side, and then the little announcer, maybe Corey Burton voice, is like saying, "Oh, please don't get out yet. Your ride's not over. We're just moving really slowly through the station. Please stay
Uh-huh.
seated."
Uh-huh.
And then continues with the right-hand track.
Interesting. Yeah, I think by far my favorite part is when you go through the circus because I love the kinetic energy of going through a restaurant and everything. But yeah, it's like you're not even guaranteed to get that, and the narration's bad and the restraints are bad, and why do you even really have restraints on a goddamn people mover?
That's because of the
So,
way the car is designed.
I guess. So yeah,
Yeah.
like you
Well, at
said,
least
good.
it seemed.
Sorry.
Yeah, at least it's when they run one track, it seems to always be the one with the circus, from what I can tell.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
You know,
So yeah, a good
yeah, I guess
people's
it's
not a
like an
good people
okay people
mover.
mover.
Yeah, good people's not a good people mover, but this is just not a great one. And honestly, it seems like it would be a ride system that would be hard to mess up. All right. That got more heated than I expected it to get. What's your number 16?
Do you mean 17?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah,
Sorry.
because we're at my 17.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, my 17. That sounds like some sort of teen movie.
yeah.
17. This is going to be a fun reaction for you. My 17 goes to King and Kodo's Twirl and Earl.
I, I mean, honestly, I forgot that it was even still on the table, but okay.
Yeah, I just think it's really well written.
That's fair. That's
Like
fair.
it's like the signs are really funny, the dialogue's pretty funny, and you get that it's an active game element of how, yeah, we're going for these targets throughout the ride. It's
Uh-huh.
a way to add another layer of engagement to a Dumbo spinner. It it's, yeah, I think it's underrated. Well done to the writers.
I don't really think I've paid that much attention to the narration. I mean, I like
Yeah, I guess like
obviously
some of the remarks are funny, like in the like say, now you're trapped and your tickets are non-refundable,
Mhm.
or some of the stuff the announcer voice is saying. Like, yeah, this is totally a ride and not a trap by aliens, or
Mhm.
and then of course the signs in the queue of like, don't worry, there's more line ahead. Well, clearly humans like waiting in line, so good news, there's still more.
All right. So number 16 for me. I don't know. This might be a hot take? Question mark. Gringotts.
Yeah, it's probably mild take.
Yeah, honestly, I just like the restraints are shockingly bad, and like it
Yeah.
took me
Yeah, I
until
remember
this trip
sitting
to
in it the
really
first time
realize
being
it.
like, this could be more comfortable.
Yeah, it's really not comfortable at all. I mean, like to the point where I had a hard time fitting in. Like, oh man, Um, Genuinely, I think it's probably the best queue in the entire resort.
Yeah, no surprise there.
But that's the thing. I mean, the ride is like it's like I enjoy the first section with the drop track, but then after that, it's literally just like I don't know. Like honestly, on a rewatch, like there is some physicality to it as far as like you do see some, some mind track.
Yeah,
Uh,
that great bit where you pass under the track.
right. Like so there is a little bit of physicality to it, but not much. It's like I will say it's probably there's more physicality to it than like Transformers, I would say, but definitely not as much or nearly as well done as Spider-Man, which is of course like the gold standard for this kind of thing. And honestly, the timeline is also a little bit confusing if I'm really breaking it
Yeah,
down because it's 'cause,
very specific moment.
yeah, like this is like it's supposed like because correct my memory, it's been a while since I've seen Deathly Hallows Part Two, but like Voldemort does not show up in that scene. Am I right?
Now, unless it happened off screen.
Right. Like it's really weird to me because honestly, I feel like the timeline of Forbidden Journey is all kinds of fucked up, but I like that Forbidden Journey does not try to be like a thing. Like that's one of the things I really appreciate about Forbidden Journey is that it really like I mean, honestly, when I think about it, there's not a ton in that ride that's really fucked up, like timeline wise. Like theoretically, the only
It
thing
really
that's
doesn't
weird.
add up.
What?
Yeah, the timeline in Forbidden Journey really doesn't add up if you look at the whole thing,
Well,
like
I
in
mean,
comparison to the universe.
like I think probably the thing with Forbidden Journey that's the most hard to wrap your head around is just the guest role in everything. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess I don't know. You're it is weird, especially when you have Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and Hagrid's is obviously the best of the Potter attractions because it puts the guest front and center. But we'll get there.
We'll get
So,
there.
so
As for
yeah,
Gringotts,
I think I really think it's a shame because Gringotts it's like it's one of the all-time most iconic theme park exteriors in like the entire industry, just fucking hands down. Um, it's just underwhelming. Like I want to like the actual ride so much more than I actually do. Okay. All right.
okay,
Number 16 for you.
yeah, yes, my 16. I think this is one where I was a bit uncertain on where to rank it, and who knows, this list could well change after I've eventually made it back there someday in the distant future. But yeah,
In the
16 for
universe.
now. I'm giving it to Dudley Do Right's Rips Off Falls.
What? I
I
thought for
mean,
sure this would be in your top 10.
I mean, something that it's not exactly the ride's fault, but
I
something
don't know
working against it
why,
is
but
that it was
I thought you were a big fanboy for this thing.
uh, for what it's worth, I only got to do it on my 2015 trip. It was closed on my second trip. So
Okay.
I so the memories of the physical their memories are a little more distant.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And yeah, maybe I'll still also mark it down a little for, I'm not as nuts about the wetness and also how like the audio quality and the physical quality of the attraction aren't necessarily in the best shape. But yeah, still it's but otherwise it's still certainly a good IP, or at least an IP I like. It's got that nice cue, some nice humor in there. It's nice long ride. I wish it had been open last time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I probably should have done it at least once more on my trip. It is very good.
Yeah, as again with the water rides, well, okay, I have to plan around that. So
Yeah, that's a tricky thing, and honestly, like, I Dudley Do Right, like it can, like, it's not as bad as Popeyes, but it's still bad.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like this. It's like it's in a lagoon or something.
Right. Okay, number 15. This is probably the highest rank that anyone has ever ranked this. It's Supercharged, baby. Yeah, Party Bus.
It's at the halfway point. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I kind of, obviously I tried to do that a little bit intentionally. The pre-show. I mean, the pre-show is the pre-show is the pre-show is the pre-show. It's when you have two cast members who are genuinely committed to the bit. It is freaking performance art. It is glorious. Universal is entirely self-aware about how underwhelming this thing is. And that's why I love it. This thing is like the meme of the park for me. And you know what? I'm going to say something unironic. Okay. Like, this is going to be like the hottest take of the whole list. And nobody has ever said this.
Grab that heat.
For the IP, for the Fast and the Furious IP, I think the Party Bus is actually kind of a cool ride vehicle. Honestly. Because what I like about it is I like that it's got its own lighting package and sound system, and like if you actually get into like the meme vibe of the whole thing, and like, hell yeah, we're going to a party. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I like the lighting in the bus, like physically. You know what I mean? Like, and this is something.
Yeah, it sounds like a nice feature.
Yeah, like, you know, it almost kind of like has the feeling of like, you know, like riding in a stretch limo or something like that. You know what I mean? So like, honestly, with the Party
But not
Bus,
a super stretch limo.
like with the Party Bus, like, yeah, it's ridiculous that it is even called the Party Bus. It's ridiculous that you have a Fast and the Furious ride and it's not fast at all. The actual ride itself is bad. But I don't know. It's just a big old giant meme, and I love it.
And memes are fun. So.
I don't think it's gonna last. I think it's a terrible investment for Universal. Like, as far as I'm pretty sure it's like the budget for this thing was like way higher than it should have been. But yeah. I don't know. I really love the meme. I don't know what to tell you.
You know, as high as Kong is going to be on my list, it does look like this one does not have the hole at the front of the screen.
No. Yeah. That's actually something that I noticed with Kong the last couple times I did it.
I think I noticed it right away with Kong.
Really? I don't necessarily... Kong is... I genuinely... we'll get to Kong, but...
We'll get to Kong.
All right. Okay, what's your number 15?
My number 15, I am giving to Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon.
Okay, I mean, it's like, it is a pretty convincing simulator. Let me guess. It's because of your New York ties, right?
Not really, no.
Really?
That's a bonus. Like you asked me the first time we did it if it felt like we're actually in Times Square, and my response, which is still generally the same, is like the main tip off that we weren't actually there is that it didn't smell like tobacco and shit.
Right.
But yeah, so which should I go through first with this one? My highs or my lows?
Start with the positives, I guess. I don't know.
You know, yeah, okay, positive. So, you know, let's see. I mean, overall, I think it's okay. It's okay. It's cute, and you know, and there's still a moment or two in there I like, such as say, "Oh, what else can we do in 3D?" That's a fun little meta line, and like I said, the main thing with this is, like, this is one of the most convincing simulators I've been on. It's like mainly because of how it's set up, and especially the how much the screen wraps around your vision, and of course the glasses, which are a tool I'll be sure to discuss on another entry in this list. And
Have
now, of
you
course,
have you done Flight of Passage?
of course I have.
Okay, I don't know why I didn't remember if you had or not.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do believe this is more convincing than Flight of Passage.
What? Okay, you're fucking high.
Well, you
I
see
mean,
how
it's
high the
convincing,
Tonight Rider goes.
but oh man, Flight of Passage is in a league of its own.
It's those glasses and your field of view. Because Flight of Glasses, I mean, Flight of
Glasses.
My glasses! I can't fly without my glasses! Flight of Passage has the Soren issue where it's like you can see the other vehicles off to the side and the edges of the screen, whereas with like most of the Universal stuff, except for the studio tour at Hollywood, the glasses they use are designed so that they block your peripherals.
Yeah.
Which helps focus, which really helps sell the illusion more. And I honestly don't know why they didn't do that for Flight of Passage.
I don't like you've meant I have just literally gotten lucky every time I've ridden Flight of Passage, but I just do not have the same issues with that ride system that I do with Soren. I think it's just a way better, like a big improvement.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's worse than Soren, just that it's still there. I mean, granted, that does have the excuse
Honestly,
of
I don't mind seeing the other ride vehicles, because for me that's part of the magic of it. Not the magic as far as like the convincing element, but just being someone who's a big geek about the technology of it,
That's fair. I mean, it is also me being nitpicky.
Yeah, sure.
And Flight of Passage does have the excuse of, well, you're not actually there. You're just being linked to.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah. So past the glasses, of course, it wouldn't be quite as immersive. I mean, both Flight of Passage and Fallon do have good 3D, like actually being 3-dimensional and such. As for the not as great stuff, the weighting setup could be stronger or could be smoother. I mean, like hell, that first, like even just aside from the way it's set up, like the whole, okay, this group, that could be smoother. And then like when you and I did it, we were stuck behind that column during the pre-show, like
that was miserable.
Yeah, like we were Arnold and Gerald at the baseball game.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like, and there's a lot of reliance on stuff like, oh, here's this thing from the show, here's that thing from the show,
right?
And I'm trying to think, like out of them, I think the only ones that I would know offhand just from my experiences having seen the show were like the thank you note and hashtag the panda and I guess his his sidekick being there and the Roots being there. But okay, I think I'd heard of them. Had I actually seen any Ragtime Gal spits? Like I guess I knew they existed, like with their presence in the pre-show, or that they're supposed to have in the pre-show.
With most of the stuff in this ride, it's just like a surface level. I know that exists, I guess.
Like tight pants.
Right.
Yeah, it's odd. I mean, and I might have said this last time. It's a synergy that makes sense for this park to do a Tonight Show ride. This could have been stronger. This was an idea I had a while back for it. Like I think even not long after doing the ride, but one way to do it, to maybe a best of both worlds thing, maybe Tonight Show is like sort of, oh, we're here to see the Tonight Show, but it ends up being a Ghostbusters ride.
Oh, that'd be glorious. It's a Ghostbusters ride actually set in 30 Rock.
Yeah, and around
around
the area.
Oh my god.
Take my money. The New York theming, and of course the site was originally a Ghostbusters show, so so we're Kong 360ing it.
Honestly, a brilliant idea. I love that.
Or, no, not Kong 360ing it. We're Barry Tailsing it.
Right.
And also I remember the first time I sat down in the in the vehicle is like, ow, that hurt.
I don't even remember. All right. Okay, so my number 14.
Yeah, out of the 3 simulators, it's the weakest content of them.
Sure, I can agree on that. All right, my number 13 or 14, I'm
14?
sorry. I have this ranked too high. I honestly think it's just kind of the freshness of seeing it for the first time. And Monkey, I swear, the hosts I got were just absolutely on fire. I mean, they were so freaking funny. But yeah, horror makeup show. It's too high. Like honestly, I looking at the list, I would maybe even like probably do something like swap Poseidon's Fury with horror makeup show. You know what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that.
Oh.
Mid broadcast list change. Just
in
because,
the
like I
mid-tier,
said, like
fittingly.
the horror makeup show is like it's classic Universal. Like that is what I like about it. It is like kind of like that, you know, the last gasp of like the behind the scenes quality of Universal.
Mm-hmm. It's appreciated in that regard.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just there's not a lot about it that's like a wow, I need to do that again. But the hosts are damn funny. The hosts that I had, at least.
Good.
Okay, 14 for you.
My 14, I'm giving to the Simpsons ride.
Okay.
You know, yeah, it's a little bit of a hard ride to judge for me, I think, because it's it's the reason I went to Universal Hollywood for the first time was because Simpsons ride had opened.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, so this is the Universal attraction I have the longest experience with, longest history with.
Uh-huh.
Well, okay. I mean, arguably, there's some with Curious George, but even then, it took me like an additional 15 years to actually experience it. For Simpsons ride, you know, yeah, I've been there pretty much from the beginning. And that in between feeling of like, oh, is it good or is it maybe not as good? And yeah, maybe some in between of it, and also like, yeah, it's a thing we have here in Hollywood as well, so it's a clone.
For some reason, I feel the clone quality with this in Transformers more than I do some of the other clones. Maybe it's just because of the park, like Transformers especially. It's just like boom, where you like Transformers literally feels like Roller Coaster Tycoon, just like and plop this down, you know, like literally.
You're right. Just like that.
But, like Simpsons, at least there's an area behind it, but even still, it's just like when I feel like Simpsons rounds out the roster of Universal Hollywood, whereas in Orlando it's just another attraction. That makes sense, right?
Yeah. I think so, yeah. And Hollywood does, I think, have the more interesting show building.
Right, yeah, I can agree to that.
Well, anyway, so with this one,
the one in Orlando,
you know, something that's lower in the rank is just how monitor reliant the pre-shows are.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the attraction in general, but I mean, like at least Despicable Me, they make one of them like, yeah, you're looking at windows. And it's not to disparage the pre-show material. It's still, you know, some funny stuff, some good content.
Yeah.
I guess it's a bit, you know, oh yeah, here's a bunch of screens to look, a bunch of monitors to look at. And then, yeah, like the seating and your view with this system are flawed because like some vehicles are going to be way better than others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like say, yeah, a top corner vehicle, that's going to be a not great view, or it's a real awkward one. That's also a holdover from Back to the Future, which, yeah, I know, irony. Doc Brown never got to go on the Back to the Future ride. So, yeah, Doc Brown 2015, to make it clear. I don't know if Christopher Lloyd ever went on it or Dan Castellaneta. Yeah, so Simpson's right. It's a nice one, but it's not getting as high as it could have been.
Okay, that's fair. All right, 13. This might be the biggest discrepancy between the two of us, except for maybe fucking River Journey.
I have a guess as to what this is going to be.
Rip Ride Rocket.
No, that's not my guess.
Oh, well, it's Rip Ride Rocket.
That is a discrepancy.
I genuinely think this thing is underrated. I really do. I don't get the hate. I get the mid. As a coaster enthusiast, I get that it is mid. But I don't know, man. Maybe I've just had good rides on it, but I just I don't find it rough. I just don't. Call me crazy. I did it like 4 times this last trip. And for me, the big thing that really elevates it is that secret song menu. And I know that you said that you tried to do it and you tried to hold it and it didn't work. And that is a shame. That sucks. But, like, my God, I did it a few times. And, like, Monkey, there is nothing more surreal than going up that lift hill at a Universal park hearing Rainbow Connection. I mean, it is, like, and just riding riding a roller coaster with Rainbow Connection. I mean, that alone. And honestly, I kind of like the kinetic energy of this ride more than I actually like it as a coaster, if that makes sense. I genuinely appreciate how
have some decent kinetic energy, like especially the lights on the cars.
the lights for sure. I really
like
think
the party bus.
yes. I swear to God, if we were like an actual YouTube channel that had like a big audience, I would get so much shit for that party bus take. But no, I like one of my favorite things about it is actually the section right before the brake run, just because I love how it interacts with City Walk, with the entrance plaza to the park.
It is a nice idea.
So yeah, again, like secret song menu is freaking phenomenal. Like it's not an elite coaster by any means. By any means, it is not a great coaster. But I don't know. For me, I have been on so much worse. Like anything Vekoma related that's not next generation Vekoma is so much worse than this. I don't know. I guess I've just gotten lucky on it, or I just have the right body type for the restraints.
Could be either.
All right. Okay, number 13 for you.
Yes, my 13, I'm given to Despicable Me Minion Mayhem.
Okay.
Yeah, now, I don't deny the ride system, pretty outdated, and the removal of the 3D really lowers this ride's ranking.
Totally.
Because the 3D, it didn't, block out all of the peripherals, but those glasses helped you focus more on the screen and the those lack of peripherals and being a 3D film. It helped sell the illusion a little more. Aside from that, it's still some nice environment, some nice settings, you get those fun little extra touches in the second pre-show with the vibrating floor and the fart gun smoke. You get that the heartwarmingness of it with the story. Like, this is
genuinely probably the most heartwarming theme park attraction on the planet.
Yeah, like, I mean, granted, I still haven't gotten around to seeing the second Minions movie, but I wouldn't be surprised if it might be safe to say this ride is better than the movies. Which I don't dislike the movies, but this is overall a stronger product. And
I mean, yeah,
also
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, and also I do have a bit of a bias with the Hollywood versions of the attraction, so the attraction overall, I guess, but even though it does apply more to the Hollywood one, where my first time doing the Hollywood one happened to be at a pretty good time in my life, so it's got some of those ties with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wish they'd put the 3D back.
Yeah, I know. Also, I forgot to mention this, but you know how Woody Woodpecker was the first Universal Florida attraction I did?
We
Well, the Seuss Trolley train ride was the first Islands of Adventure attraction I did, and I feel
That's
like that's a
right.
much more appropriate first attraction to do because it's like
Yeah,
the
I remember
overview of the entire park and everything.
oh yeah. Yeah, I remember it was a nice moment like arriving on this on my second trip, okay, I'm here going into islands, coming out towards the lake, seeing the trolley going along the track while hearing
Mhm.
the da 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 da.
Oh man, that music loop is freaking awesome. I mean, as you know, I spent a pretty significant chunk of time in Seuss Landing my last trip. So, anyways.
Well, anyhow, so Minion Mayhem, it's sweet, it's fun. Wish it was 3D. It would be higher if it was.
All right, number
Or it
12
might
is
be higher. It would be higher in Hollywood if it was.
Mhm.
Uh, in Florida, it gets it's a thing that I have back home, even though this one opened first. So
Sure. Yeah, I only
it would
did
have
it.
been fun to go on Neutron.
I only did it. I only did it the last trip, just as like is because I was there so many days. It was just kind of like a completionist thing. Like, oh, I'm walking by and it happens to not have a long line. Might as well.
Yeah, like on my second trip, the only reason I did it the second time was because you were like, "Oh, let's go on it" in that morning.
Yeah, the only reason I was like that was because I thought it would be a nice like first thing for my grandma.
Yeah, the line wasn't there.
It was like early entry at that point, I think.
Yes, it was.
Do you remember the last day of my trip? I got to the park like an hour before opening, and it wasn't scheduled to have early entry, and yet they were just running everything. It was so
Oh,
weird. It was so like I
mm,
walked into Fallon and I was like one of like 10 people in the Fallon lobby. It was fucking surreal. Anyway, I don't know what was up with
uh,
that.
there's something so wonderful about empty theme parks.
Oh, I know. I still have this memory of a rainy day at Disneyland where Disneyland itself was empty, Monkey. I swear to God.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was
Was it the day I previewed Iron Wraith? The place was empty.
I bet. All right. Anyways, I mean to be fair, empty knots nowadays. Empty
Well,
knots,
it had been raining that day, so
right? When I
it's still
that one
amazing.
trip that Jacob Weil came to SoCal and I was staying like and I wasn't staying near Knott's, but I went to Knott's a few times. I had a lot of luck with Knott's just being not busy at all. Anyways, number
Anyways,
12 is Dudley Do Right's Ripsaw Falls. Honestly, I think this would pretty easily crack my top 10 if it weren't for the fact that I just don't find the logs comfortable at all. And it's another one of those things where how the fuck do you mess up a log flume? Like, how do you even do that?
I want to say they made it that way in the mid 2000s.
Oh, really? It wasn't even originally like that?
No.
Yeah, if this was just like a Splash Mountain style log, either Disneyland or Disney World, either one is way better than this. And it's not like logs. Like it's weird because is this even technically a log, the ride vehicle, or is it just like a weird boat? I
It's a
don't
log.
the ride vehicle itself is horrendous, but I really do like
Yeah,
the
I know.
ride.
A universal ride with restrictive restraints? Wow.
I
Unheard
know,
of.
right? Like the ride has the length. I wish there were a few more I wish there were a few more like actual show scenes, but I think what it lacks in show scenes, I think it actually has a lot of kinetic energy just in how the attraction kind of like interacts with itself. Oh, excuse me. And
Yeah,
the build up to
even the queue passes under a drop. The
that's what I'm
second drop.
saying. Yeah. Which by the way, that drop gets you more wet than the final drop. It's
Yeah,
it's
well, it does have those walls surrounding
it's
you.
freaking crazy. Exactly. Those walls just it literally just floods the boat. And I love the build up to the final drop, and that's probably my favorite thing about it as a whole. But it does get
Yeah,
you.
wish it had been open.
It does get you quite wet, which is definitely problematic.
Well, not problematic, just easier for some than others.
I mean, when I was a kid, I was just like, get me as wet as you can. I don't care. And now as an adult, I'm like, no. All right, number 12 for you.
Number 12 is my thing that's, probably ranked too high, and a lot of
Monkey, you're cutting out again. Hello? All right.
No. Am I back yet? Am I back yet?
You're
Am I
back.
back yet?
You're back.
Okay, I'm back. Well, I keep dropping out on rides that are, have big drops. Because
oh, it's Dr. Doom, motherfucker.
Did it cut out?
You can only count for so much. Like I ranked Gringotts low.
Did it? Wait. Yeah, again, maybe it is, from being,
the queue is not as good as the Gringotts queue, Monkey.
I'm not saying it's better than the Gringotts queue.
No, I know you're not. I'm just kidding.
Although, this queue does have Leopold. But what fascinated, and I definitely don't want to wait for it to back out any further than the movie room. That sounds no bueno. Like, no, that's too long a wait for this capacity. And yeah, I know, capacity. But for me, what's amazing, and yeah, a lot of it does trace to the queue, even though I did enjoy the ride portion of it. It's a nice little thrill and some really good view. But what I found so cool was that the atmosphere of the queue that the queue and the pre-show really set up the atmosphere for the ride, because you get all the the creepy sense, and then that stuff in the pre-show where it's like, yeah, this is a fearful system. This invention is like killing people, like it can be deadly. So yeah, we're collecting your fear. Here's some of the stuff to like intimidating environment. And yeah, you're going on this thing that the pre-show, our tests have people flying out of it or just turning into goop when they get back, which helps add to some of the tension when you're waiting for the ride to start and like, now we're gonna get your fear. So mainly because of that is what I really enjoy about it, what I really like about it.
Yeah, totally fair.
Yeah, it's probably higher than it should be. Maybe, the Minions, that's another reason to put your 3D back, reestablish your dominance.
Right. Okay, I'm going to rip your heart out. Okay. Guess what my number 11 is based on that.
Cat in the Hat?
Yes. Okay. Thing 1 and Thing 2, the like the walking quote unquote animatronics of Thing 1 and Thing 2, they were just straight up not working my last trip.
Aw. So the cat's insane. He's just, here are my things. Nothing
right.
Comes out.
Right. I do love this. Like, I love it, but at the same time, I want it to be like an elite dark ride, and it's not, specifically because there is a lot that is noticeably just not up to par.
You're not wrong.
I really like. I know that it's almost impossible for them to actually fix the spinning because I believe the manufacturer is out of business and they literally just don't have the parts for it. But man, I think it would be so much more fun if it really spun like it should.
Like it used to.
Because that was like, as far as I know, the spinning was like a big part of what made it so good. Like when it opened, it was definitely like not the forgotten dark ride of the resort like it is now. I mean, it was pretty front and center from what I remember. But yeah, it's still just a damn good attraction, though. I mean, it's got the length, it's got the charm. There is quite a bit of set pieces. And my last trip, I kind of had a meme in my own head about the motion of the fish's arms throughout the ride every time.
Is it the one who says your mother's on her way home to
Yes,
your
yes,
ears?
yes. So, all right. Number 11 for you.
Yeah. Just a little backtrack addendum I forgot to mention with The Simpsons. The music score throughout the ride is amazing. I love it so much. Okay, back to my 11. You said water's problematic. I'm like, I don't know if water's problematic. My number 11 is Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. Gringotts, it's such a non-controversial place. Okay, elephant in the room acknowledged. So moving on, it's a great queue. It's nice to have some music in there, and it's got a couple decent comedic moments as well, which I appreciate. The ride is fine, but it's not what it could be. Like, it would be nice if there was some more like interaction with the physical stuff, perhaps. You would think, watching that scene from the film where like they're going through the coaster, you'd think there'd be some simulation of going through that.
I honestly think it's unforgivable that they don't have an animatronic dragon in this. Like, yes. I get that the dragon is outside, but still, it blows my mind that you would build up the actual dragon from the outside. And that is like the most physically impressive thing about the entire attraction, is literally the exterior.
Yeah. Or the interior of the banking room.
True.
That first room. But yeah, it is weird. Like, they never like, screen of you going along the coaster tracks. That never happens. Odd. And I remember, like, at the time it opened, people being like, "Oh, this is mind-blowing. I can't believe it." And even after, like, trying to, temper my expectations going in that first time, it's like, I don't know if this is mind-blowing. Like I would think maybe if the 3D was unbelievably good, whereas...
Yeah,
maybe some of the weaker 3D in the resort.
I mean, like, to contrast with that, Monkey, like, you remember the first time I did Forbidden Journey at Hollywood, I was literally so excited that I was, like, desperate to get it on camera. Like, I didn't want to say anything until I could be on camera.
Hell, Forbidden Journey's 3D in Hollywood, that phase was better than the on Gringotts.
And at the time, I called Forbidden Journey the best theme park attraction I had ever experienced. And I don't quite agree with that now. I still think it's like arguably a top 10 dark ride, but still, Forbidden Journey is an experience that elicits a wow reaction out of you. Hagrid,
oh yeah, like the first time doing Forbidden Journey, it's like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Can't wait for it to be in Hollywood. This being 2015, and with Gringotts, it was like, that was all right.
Right. And it's such a shame too, because it's like the actual land of Diagon Alley is so damn good, so immersive. And yet Hogsmeade just shits all over Diagon Alley as far as attractions go.
Yeah. And that's before you factor the out of park stuff. But anyway.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, at least you don't have to pay to get on these rides.
Yeah, true. All right, so I think that is it, Monkey. That's it. We've done it. Yeah. You want to do a quick recap?
A quick recap. Okay, so my mid-tier list is 20, High in the Sky Zeus Trolley Train Ride. 19, Jurassic Park River Adventure. Yeah, it'll be nice to give it another shot someday. 18, Universal Orlando's Hollywood Makeup Show. 17, King and Kodos' Twirl and Hurl. 16, Dudley Do-Rights Rips Off Halls. 15, Race to New York starring Jimmy Fallon. 14, The Simpsons Ride. Number 13, Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem. Number 12, Dr. Doom's Fearfall. And number 11, Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts.
All right, number 20 for me is One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. 19 is going to be the Horror Makeup Show. 18, the Simpsons Ride. 17, the Seuss Trolley Train Ride. 16, Escape from Gringotts. 15, Fast and the Furious Supercharged. 14, Poseidon's Fury. 13, Rip Ride Rocket. 12, Ripsaw Falls. And 11, Cat in the Hat. All right, well, we will be back next week for the finale.
You know, I think I know what would have made Jurassic Park higher on my list.
What?
If it had a party bus.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah.
And also stick around because on this channel, literally immediately after this, Monkey and I are doing our theme park news show.
Trying to think out.
And it is titled Generic Theme Park News Show. Wonderful title.
Yeah, I'll figure that out later.
No, I'm sticking to it.
No, not the title, the acronym.
Oh, right. All right. Have a good one, folks.